High in velocity, high in energy, low in recoil, and low in cost. Isn't that the perfect cartridge? Well, in today's video, I'm gonna share a calculator that actually grades cartridges in these 4 categories. And we're gonna share with you some of these cartridges that I believe are overrated and maybe some that are underrated. Because let's be honest, some cartridges out there provide you with great value while others just don't. So let's get into it. So I've been recovering from back surgery, so I've had a lot of time to just think about things. And this has been a question I've been thinking about. What straight wall cartridge gives you the best value? And what I mean by value of a cartridge, I'm thinking of all the components that we all really like. We want something that's going to be high in energy and velocity, that's going to get the job done. I also want something with a little bit less recoil so my accuracy can improve and my kids can also shoot it. Last but not least, cost. Cost is a huge important factor on this, especially on ammunition. I went to the great World Wide Web and I couldn't find anything online that I was kind of looking for, so I created it. I created the best bang for your buck calculator. And guys, this thing is far from perfect. I'm aware of that. You can let me know where I messed up in the comments below, or even constructive criticism would help. Let me know how I could improve this thing. But truly, I do think it does show the strengths and weaknesses of every cartridge. And that was the whole point of this. Shout out to Ron Spomer and Backfire. I went to their blogs, took a lot of their information on velocity, energy, recoil, all that information, and I implemented it into this calculator. And so for this video, I'm going to show you the top 5 cartridges, maybe some cartridges that are right there in the bubble, and then some that are just really underperforming. I also left a cartridge custom option so you can actually implement all the data yourself. So if you feel like I got the data wrong from the blogs, you can input your own data and create a new result for yourself. All right, coming in 5th place is the 350 Legend. At a cheap cost of $25 a box of 20 rounds, that's going to bring down the cost per round to $125. We're going to hit the button, bang. And there you go. We get a B rating of 83.4%. And you can see the information that's already been put in. This is using a 160 grain bullet to get the velocity at 200 yards of 1509, an energy of 809, and the recoil at 7.2 feet per pound. So this is how you get the overall grade. Again, this calculator is far from perfect. And if you want to edit some of these details, hit that custom cartridge, fill it in, and try to find your own. But with the details and the information from Backfire and Ron Spomer that I use off of their page, this is the information that I got. And so I'm going to stick with it. When it comes to how I scored these, velocity, energy, and cost, all are around 30%. Of carrying the weight of the grade. That leaves recoil with only 10%. So recoil is not a huge factor. It is a factor in the scoring, but not a huge factor because I think we can all agree. Velocity, energy, and cost. We're going to value those 3 things more than the recoil. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's how I feel. So that's how I graded it. All right, coming in 4th place for the best bang for your buck is going to be the 360 Buckhammer, with averaging around $31 a box. That's going to put you at $155 a round. Hit the button, bang, and we are up to 84.9%. This is using a 180 grain bullet. Your velocity is over 1500, energy just around 1,000 feet per pound, and recoil is at a C with 14 and costs at a B with 155. And you can already see where some of these cartridges are best at. See, that was the whole point of this. You can see where its strength is and you can see where its weakness is. But overall, somewhere in the B range is pretty good. The 3rd best bang for your buck is going to be the 444 Marlin. At $46 a box, that's going to bring it to about $230 cost per round. And you can see that's up to an 85.8%. Really good. You see the 444 Marlin where its strengths are. I mean, geez, killing it in velocity and energy. Isn't that what we all want? And the recoil, obviously there's a little more of a bang to it, and the cost isn't great. So those are areas where it can improve. This is a perfect example for someone who is a reloader and can bring the cost down a little bit you can really excel this to the top cartridge. All right, now we're getting to the top. The second best bang for your buck cartridge is going to be your 30-30 Winchester round. Averaging only $26 a box, you're going to be able to get this at $130 a round. So this is almost getting you up to an A. You're at 88%. Look at the 30-30 Winchester's velocity over 1500. Energy's down a little bit. Obviously, this is at 200 yards, if you remember again. But look at that recoil and look at that overall cost, which is why this cartridge gives you incredible value. Let's move on to number one. All right, so now you're ready for the number one best bang for your buck cartridge. That's going to be the 400 Legend. The 400 Legend, you can get factory load ammo for $30. That's going to put you at $150 cost per round, and that's going to get us to an A, 90.8%. As you can see, it has excellent velocity. Energy is still pretty good. Recoil still pretty good. And that cost, beautiful. The 400 Legend is a perfectly balanced straight wall cartridge. For those still watching, and I get these comments, what about the 308? What about the 30-06? What about the 6.5 Creedmoor? I typically do a lot of just straight wall cartridges because I hunt in lower half of Michigan where there's a limited firearm zone. So this is why I'm held to a lot of these other cartridges. But I know there's Pennsylvania, I know there's Iowa, and I know there's other locations that aren't bound to the 1.8 inch, which is why I inputted a bunch of straight wall cartridges. But I left that custom cartridge thinking of anyone who wants to just input their own data. So let's just show you what that looks like. And for that bottlenecker out there, let's just go ahead and create a custom cartridge. And I'm going to do the 308 Winchester. There we go. Let's give it a grain weight of 150. I looked up a velocity at 200 yards for a 150 grain bullet, and that's 2,488 feet per second. Let's put in our energy. That would give us 2,062 foot per pound. And recoil, I looked up, it's about 15 foot per pound. And now we got to input the cost per round. 308 ammo is pretty cheap. I can see some for $30, even some less. So let's do 150 a round, and then we're going to hit bang and scroll down, 98.9%. And guys, this is why sometimes I leave bottlenecks out of the discussion, because you can't really compare what a straight wall is doing compared to a bottleneck cartridge. The high-powered rifle is going to outperform the straight wall cartridge. But let's reset this bad boy and let's get to some of the underperformers. All right, before we get to the bottom dwellers, let's quickly look at maybe some of those that are on the bubble, on the cusp. They would be awesome, but maybe it's the cost. But if you're a reloader and you're watching this, you're like, I reload, I can cut costs. I can actually make this an excellent valued cartridge. Well, let me show you a few of those. Everyone knows the 4570 is a common favorite among the straight wall community. So let's just take a peek at it. At around $45 a box, that's average that I was finding, $225 costs per round. And there you have it. It's at a B, 80.2%. Obviously, the recoil's holding it back. But again, like I said, that's only a 10% of the scoring system. It's really the cost that's holding it back. At $225 a round, it gives it a D. You have incredible energy, one of the best out here. So the 4570 has the potential to be the best bang for your buck if you can get that cost down. So for a reloader, this is a perfect cartridge for you to get into to really get the best bang for your buck. 35 Remington, another great round, but you're getting like $50 a box. That's around $250, and you're going to see it's a low B, but again, great velocity, really good energy, decent recoil, but again, the cost is killing you. It's not a great value. But if you can reload, you can make it a good value. 450 Bushmaster is going to be pretty much the same. Again, $50 a box, $250 per round. You're going to have great velocity, great energy. Recoil, not great, but cost is killing it. If you could reload, you could improve this. Let's take a peek at the 41 Great Lakes. 41 Great Lakes, you can get about 20 cartridges for I think around $75. That's going to bring you up to $375 a round. And that's what's hurting this cartridge. In fact, it's excellent at velocity, energy, and recoil. One of the best on here, but the cost is the killer. So if you can reload this round, this has incredible potential. All right, now on to the bottom dwellers. What are the overrated straight wall cartridges that people might be using, thinking they're getting great value when they're really not? Some of these are going to make people mad, especially those who love the 38-55 Winchester. Guys, $75 for 20 rounds. That puts you at $375 a round. Ouch. At the distance of 200 yards, you are not going to get the value out of this cartridge. If you're only hunting at 50 to 100 yards and you reload and you can cut the cost down, then sure, great cartridge, have fun with it. But for the numbers that I'm seeing, it doesn't bring you the best value. It's not the worst or in the bottom, but I have to show you the 458 Win Mag because it's just crazy. I believe the cheapest factory load I saw on the internet was like $130. That's like $6.50 per trigger pull. Yikes. Bang. With a 500 grain bullet, I mean, you are completely maxing out in velocity, energy. It's crazy. But it's also maxed out on recoil and cost. Like, this is the cartridge it's just funny. You max out in everything. You're the best at velocity and energy, and you are the worst at recoil and cost. Just an interesting cartridge to throw out there. But if you could reload this and you don't care about the recoil, then have at it. This is going to be an incredible cartridge. And the worst one I have recorded on here is the 375 Winchester. At $85 a box of factory reload, that puts you at about $425 per trigger pull. Yikes. I mean, at 200 yards with the 220 grain bullet, you just aren't getting the best velocity. You aren't getting great energy. Your recoil is up there and the cost is terrible. This just isn't a good value cartridge. I'm not going to go through every cartridge on here, but as you can see, it's kind of fun. It's a fun calculator, especially the custom cartridge. Have fun with it. So the link to this calculator is in the description below. I hope you have time to just tinker around with it, have fun with it. That's what I've been doing. And if you've enjoyed this video or it's brought any value to you at all, would you please just hit that like button, hit subscribe if you like content like this, and again, flood the comments with how I can improve the calculator. That'll help me out as well. So while I'm healing up on back surgery, I'm probably going to be doing some simpler videos of testing and reviewing products from the comfort of my home. I would much rather be out there in the great outdoors where I typically am. But until then, I'm just going to heal and rest, and I hope the same for you. In fact, whoever's watching this, I just pray a blessing of hope and peace and comfort over you and over your entire family's life. God bless, and until next time, we'll see you then.